Hello, my name is Scott Hicks. I'm director of the Teaching and Learning Center at UNC Pembroke. I'm thrilled today to be joined by Hannah Baggott Anderson, lecturer of English in the Department of English, Theater, and Foreign Languages. Hannah, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Who's the best teacher you've ever had and why?
That's a really big and difficult question, first of all, because I've had so many that have touched my life in amazing ways. But if I really think about whose teaching style and advice has stuck with me throughout my career, even in education, it would have to be Dr. Tim Jensen, who was my writing program director in graduate school. And he was new to the program when I started as well. So I think about him often in my own teaching because I never intended to study pedagogy. I never intended to fall in love with this discipline, but his love for it, his love and interest in pedagogy, and his acceptance and promotion of just nerdiness and nerding out on what you're interested in excited me so much that everything I did when I was learning to teach there, I ended up kind of taking from him in some way. And he definitely was someone that, practiced what he preached. So even though he was giving us the tools and the skills and the readings of how to be a great teacher, he was also demonstrating that in the classroom himself with student-centered teaching. So it really kind of showed me what good teaching could be, like what it is and what it could be. And I think about him often, and I think that's what makes him the best teacher, at least in my memory right now.
Thank you. What does it take to be a good professor in higher education in 2021?
Another big question. In 2021, everything's looking so different, and everything's in flux and changing. So there were some things that I was trying to think, what is, and good is a complicated word too, but some things that popped into my brain were organization, compassion, flexibility, and honesty. Okay. And I could go into great detail of each, but those four really stuck with me. And just remembering that even in being a professor, being an instructor, we're human the same way our students are human. And you know, that level of compassion I think is needed as much as I know I can and my colleagues can get kind of tunnel visioned on getting through the content, focusing on our own research. Right now in 2021, compassion and flexibility, understanding are top. I also think to be good, truly good in this profession is having some interest in existing and developing pedagogies and being aware or at least somewhat thoughtful about what the best strategies are, because teaching the same way, you shouldn't be the same teacher you were when you started. That's my personal opinion, also supported academically, but I think staying on top of how we can shift and how we can meet the needs of our current student bodies depending on where we're teaching and who we're teaching, considering our audience, is super important.
Tell us a story about something creative you've done to engage your students.
So thinking a little bit, I thought about this in two ways. So I thought about this kind of the broader curriculum, and then I thought about the day-to-day classroom. So my favorite kind of creative thing I guess I've done on a larger scale would be, of course, including service learning and all different types, but my most particularly like striking thing that I've done with my domestic students is partner them up with international students. This was pre-pandemic when we got to go to basketball games and poetry readings together outside of the classroom. So widening that classroom space out, making something really matter, was really engaging for my students at the time because they saw their impact on others directly, where it didn't feel like school. And that's what's important to me in my own pedagogical choices, is how can I make this not feel like work? But then day to day, just as a little dorky thing I do is I do grade reading quizzes in person with stickers. So if students get full credit, they get a sticker and they get to see that as those same quiz sheets are passed back out because I set things up in a table. And that's surprisingly motivating across all ages, okay? From your traditional student coming out of high school up through an adult student returning. I mean, stickers work magic.
It's all about joy.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.